Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Johnny TCG video. Today I'm excited to bring you a video on starter deck for Kaido. Kaido is one of my favorite characters in the series. He was the first starter deck I ever bought, and he was the first video I ever did on the channel. So we are going full circle. We're bringing it back to starter deck for Kaido. Round of applause. Kaido isn't really relevant in today's meta. Not many people are playing him. He is simply kind of outclassed by other leaders, but no one really does what he does, and I love the Animal Kingdom Pirates package. It's not maybe the best in the game, but it is still a really unique and fun package to play, and so I always like going back to him each set and giving him a little bit of a test run. I was mainly curious on how he would do against the new and improved Doflamingo. With cards like King, Hikayo Ocean Sovereignty, Big Mom, I think he actually might stand a decent chance. I mean, relatively decent. I don't think he's going to win any tournaments. Maybe your locals, you'll be able to get a couple W's, but realistically, this is just a fun deck, a pet deck, and a deck that I think a lot of people would enjoy if they gave it a shot. In today's video, we're going to do a deck breakdown, we're going to do a giveaway, we've always got a giveaway on the channel, and then we're going to go into some games on the sim. Before we get into the deck breakdown, please consider hitting that subscribe button if you enjoy the content at all. It means a lot to me, it helps the channel grow, and we're almost at 800 subscribers. Can you believe it? I can almost smell it, and it smells good. For those that don't know, Kaido is a mono purple leader, 5 life, 5000 power, and his ability reads, activate main once per turn. You may return 7 Don to your Don deck, and then trash the top card of your opponent's life. 7 Don to your Don deck is steep. This is a really situational leader ability. You're not going to be able to spam it every single turn like you can with some other leader abilities. I'm looking at you, Red Zoro. I'm looking at you, Katakuri. But when you use it in the right situation, it can simply just win you the game. I think this leader is really underappreciated and really fun to play, so I hope that after this video you consider giving him a shot. We're running 2 Mr. 2 Bon Clays. On play, add 1 Don from your Don deck as active, and then when attacking, you get to copy one of your opponent's character's power level. Now, this isn't an ideal play on turn 2, and that's why I only have met 2 copies. Our ideal play is doing Onigashima Island for 3 Don, but if we don't have Onigashima Island and we're going to be on the even curve, this is our next best play. 10 drop Kaido, my favorite card in the game. It is just such a beast. Don -6, KO every character on the board. If your opponent has developed a wide board, you are losing control of the game. You definitely feel the pressure on you. This is the best kind of self-destruct button, and just destroy everything, set it back to 0. Unfortunately, you will be going down quite a bit in Don, and so if you can't win the game in the next couple turns, it might be a little bit awkward because your opponent is going to still be at 10 Don probably, and you will be trying to get back to 10. But I love this card. I think it's a must play, at least a one of, if you're running like an Animal Kingdom Pirates leader. But let me know in the comments down below what you think. X-Drake, we're mainly using this as a 2K. It is a decent card with his effect being Don -1. Your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand, but for the most part, we're using this as a 2K. 3 Miss All Sunday, I absolutely love this card. Her on play is that you get to ramp a Don as rested, and then if you have 6 or more Don, you get to draw a card as well. This is a great way to establish a body, ramp Don, and then even get card advantage. She even has a trigger, which is Don -2, play her out. Don -2 is a little bit expensive, but you get to ramp a Don with her ability, so it's really only Don -1. We're running 4 of the 5 cost 6000 power Eustace Captain Kid blockers from OP05. This card's great. When you return a Don from your field back to your deck, you use his ability and he can re-ramp that Don as active. This works very well with a lot of your cards because most of the cards, their effects require you to return Don. So if you can keep one of these on the board, which depending on your opponent, that might be easier said than done. I'm looking at you, Rob Lucci. This can be really helpful in mitigating some of those Don losses you're incurring. 2 7-drop Kings. This is a new card from OP08. I really like it. On play, Don -1 if your opponent is at 5 or more Don, which they likely are if you're playing this. He gets Rush. He's a very nice 8000 power Rush card to use in a situation where you either maybe need one last final hit and he can be the The key to that, -1 Don is nothing when you get to the late game, and so I really appreciate that. 3 9 costs, 9,000 power Charlotte Linlands from OP08. This might be like the new best purple card. Just frankly, Don -1, getting a life back, and then putting one of your opponent's characters cost 6 or less at the top or bottom of their life is so good. Not only does it help you get a life, which is amazing, it throws off your opponent. It doesn't really make a big difference that you're giving them a life because you're removing a character that's probably important. You're probably not just doing it to a 1-cost searcher. You could probably hit a Cavendish. You could hit a Boa blocker and Dofi. You could hit a Sangoro and Purple Luffy. The targets are endless. Play this card, folks. Maybe even at 4. Now the card of the hour, Black Maria, a super rare from OP08. 3 costs, 2,000 power, 2k counter, which is very nice. But what we really care about here is her effect. Activate main once per turn. You may ramp 5 rested Don from your Don deck to your field. And at the end of your turn, you have to return Don to your Don deck to make it so you're equal to your opponent's Don count. Now, early game, this isn't what you want to do. You want to save this for late game and then play it out, use leader ability, then re-ramp that Don. Between this and Onigashima Island, your leader ability is basically going to be free, and who doesn't love that? If you are not running a deck that can remove Black Maria and you're facing a Kaido and they have this out, it's going to be really hard for you because they're just going to keep spamming leader ability. 2 9-cost Kaidos from starter deck 4. I love this card. It's a great finisher. Don -5 is pretty steep, so it's not something you're going to want to play willy-nilly. It's going to be a very intentional play where you've really thought it out and have a clear goal with it. But when you play it out, it can be absolutely amazing. It can make going for lethal viable because you're popping a potential blocker and then swinging at life. It could also help clear board, which is important when you're going against wide board decks like Blue Dofi and Purple Luffy. 2 6-cost kings, maybe this should be brought up to 3. On play, Don -1, KO one of your opponent's 4 cost or less. If you're on the odd curve and you played Onigashima turn 2, you're actually going to be able to play this on turn 3 and pop whatever 4 cost they just played themselves, and so that's crazy tempo. It's great for the Dofi matchup because a card like Weevil can be really annoying, and this gets rid of it at the cost of just 1 Don. We're running 4 Queen. 4 might be a lot, maybe we go down to 3, but Queen's just such a great card, especially late game. We're going to have to return Don to our Don deck, but then we get to draw 2 and trash 1, and being able to filter your hand, get more counter, especially late game when you're going to run out of resources inevitably, it's perfect. 2 starter deck 10 Laws. I'm not sure how many starter deck 4 Kaidos are playing this. It's just a generically good purple blocker. And the main point of it is that if your opponent has 7 cards or less, if you play this down and return 1 Don, they have to trash 2 cards from their hand, which is amazing value. It can really hurt. It's not like the main focus of this deck, but if you can pull it off, especially late game, it's really good. I think this might be spicy tech. 1 copy of Ragnarok. It's a 5-cost event. Don -1, KO up to one of your opponent's cost 8 or less characters. This is perfect in response to a Gecko Moria, a Katakuri, Eustace Captain Kidd, and Bonnie if they do not have a Rosinante on the board. If they do have a Rosinante on the board, you better be careful. I think a 1 of this card is pretty solid. But if you told me you didn't run it, I'm not going to call you crazy. 3 Gum Gum Jet Gatling. This is a 0-cost event where you trash a card from your hand and get 3,000 power. Who doesn't love a 0-cost event? We're running 4 of the We're Going to Claim the One Piece Searcher. 1-cost event. This is great for turn 1. You don't really have any other options turn 1. Hakai Ocean Sovereignty is an OP08 card. Not very popular in today's meta, but 6-cost. Don -2, which is kind of steep. But you return 2 Don to your Don deck. You get to KO 2 of your opponent's characters with the cost of 6 or less. And immediately I just thought of Blue Dofi with this card, being able to get rid of 2 4-cost bodies they got on board, or Jozu because it goes up to 6-cost. I think this is really good into that matchup. 3 might be a little bit much. Maybe we just switch to 2 because the Don -2 can be a little harsh at times, but right now we got 3. 1 copy of Blast Breath. It's your typical 1-cost 4,000 power event. This makes you return 1 Don though, which is kind of a big drawback if you're not already at 10 Don. This could put you kind of far behind, and depending on when you use it, it could screw up your late game plays. And then one of the MVPs of the deck, 4 Onigashima Islands. Activate main, rest the stage, Rampadon is rested. This is the key to the deck. If you do not see this card, you are going to be in for a long game. It's not over for you. You could still possibly win, but if you do not have this, it's just going to make life so much harder. After playing some games with this deck, I did kind of feel like it could use some more 2Ks, and it kind of hit me that there is one card I definitely think I should play in this deck, and that card is OP07 Sanji. It's a 6 cost, 6000 power blocker with 2K counter, and the reason I feel like it goes well in this deck is because with a lot of our cards requiring us to minus significant amounts of Don, I'm looking at you 10 drop Kaido, I'm looking at you 9 drop Kaido, and then even our leader ability requires us to minus a great amount of Don. That is when this card's ability shines. If you are 2 or more Don behind your opponent, then this card is only a 3 cost. Huge. I can't believe I didn't think of this card when I was originally building this deck. It's not going to be searchable, which is unfortunate, but I definitely think that it would fit well with what we're trying to do here. My initial thought is maybe we put 2 or 3 of these in, and then we take out a Kai Ocean Sovereignty, a Blast Breath, and then I don't know, you tell me, maybe we get rid of a Eustace Captain Kidd, or is that crazy? Should we get rid of a Law? Moral of the story is that we need to find a way to get it in there, at least 2 copies, I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Before we get into the gameplay, of course, I've got a giveaway for you. Today we're going to be giving away a custom Kaido holographic leader card. Who doesn't want to win that? Boom, put it up on screen. All you have to do to enter this giveaway is 1, leave a like, 2, leave a comment, and then if this video gets 15 likes in the first 24 hours, I will send it to one US-based commenter completely free. It uses art from the One Piece Treasure Cruise game. I am not the artist, I am not selling it. It's just a fun hobby of mine, and if you want to be swagged out at locals, I think you would appreciate this card. The aura is just unmatched. Even if you don't want the Kaido, I still would appreciate the like and the comment, and if you feel like I deserve it, and maybe even a subscribe. We are almost at 800 and I cannot believe it. That's enough yapping for me. Editor, roll the gameplay. First up, we have a match against everybody's favorite deck nowadays, Blue Doflamingo from OP01. We are going to keep this hand. We like what we see. We do have the turn 1 Searcher play, and then we do have the stage on turn 2. That aligns us perfectly to do King on turn 3. Wow, I love when a plan comes together. We're going to take Kakai Ocean Sovereignty with our Searcher. This is going to allow us to KO 2 of Dofi's bodies, cost 6 or less. They see the Perona, which means they are going to be able to set the top of their deck if they'd like. Hopefully there's not a Jinbei in there. If there is a Jinbei in there, that's just a little bit unfortunate. With no 1-Don play other than Perona, they're just going to pass it back to me. And now my turn will be pretty simple. Just swing 5,000 at lead. They can take this or counter. I think I'd prefer if they take this just because they're able to get the counter back easily with Gecko Moria 4 cost. Then we're going to play stage, use the stage, so now we're at 4 Don. Next turn we'll be at 6, and we can go King, or we could go Queen. Bon Clay if we even want to ramp even more, but I don't think that's the best play. They're going to use leader ability to play out the new Crocodile from starter deck 17. His ability lets them draw 2 cards, so kudos to them. Now we have a decision to make. I think I'm going to swing 5,000 into this Croc and see if they give it to me. If they don't, that's fine. I'll drop King, but if they do, that's great as well. King forces us to go back a Don, which isn't ideal, but with our stage, that's not a big deal either. Next turn, we will be on track to play Bon Clay and Queen maybe, or maybe we use Hakai Ocean Sovereignty and KO 2 bodies, which it looks like they're going to be able to play out. With this Jinbei and a Boa play, they are going to be able to play out another character from the top of their deck if they use leader ability. That is kind of crazy. Jinbei, Boa, and then possibly a third 7 Warlord of the Sea character, along with a 7,000 swing into my life. Ladies and gentlemen, that's just rough. How are you supposed to stop that? And they find a Boa off the top deck too. Not in a great position right now for us, but that's alright. We're going to take this hit, and then this next turn we're probably going to swing into the Boa. that's rested. Hopefully they let that go, and then we'll likely use Sakai Ocean Sovereignty. I think the plan should be just throw some Don on Kaido and then swing into the Boa. Or should we swing into Boa with King first? These are the tough questions you must ask yourself, folks. I decide that I am going to swing 6 with Kaido leader first. Maybe I should have done 7 so that they have to give me a 2k. But now I'm going to give 1 Don to King, and so they would be forced to give me 3k of counter if they want to keep this Boa alive, which I didn't think they'd want to do. Now I'm going to use Sakai Ocean Sovereignty. It's 6 cost and requires you to return 2 Don back to your deck. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like that 2 Don requirement, putting that back in your Don deck, seems a little bit steep. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I just think that going back to Don, unless you're really late game and have the stage set out as well, that can feel rough sometimes. So you're usually not going to play that too early in the game. Right now we're in a decent spot with Don. We have the stage, that it's okay, but it's a tricky card. Sometimes it feels like you're almost not better off playing it. They are going to do another Jinbei Boa play. I have Deja Vu right now. Jinbei into Boa, setting the top cards of their deck. They're going to use leader ability again. I'm expecting them to swing into the King here, which is surprising. I guess they're just playing really aggressive and want to go straight for my life. And I wish they did swing into the King, because I'd be able to counter out of this and give them less cards. The reason I'm considering countering out of this, which I normally wouldn't, is because if they have a pudding and I've got all these cards in hand, I'm going to lose massive card advantage, and I run the risk of losing cards that are going to be valuable late game, like this Charlotte Linlin. If they hit me with the pudding and I don't get another big body like Charlotte Linlin or a blocker like Queen, I'm going to be in a really bad spot. And so that's why I just gave up so many cards. It feels bad. I'm telling you, it feels bad, but sometimes you have to do what you have to do. Now I'm in an interesting spot. We top decked the 9 cost Kaido from starter deck 4, which is very nice. We're going to start off with a 7,000 swing from King into Law, just trying to deal with their board here. I think I'm going to go with the Linlin play just because that won't require me to go too far down in Don. The 9 cost Kaido is amazing, but doing it early will leave you in an awkward place where you don't have enough Don to kind of close out the game. Using Linlin, we're going to trash the Blast Breath and then put the 4 cost Boa to the bottom of their life and swing 5,000 at that Law with Kaido. They only have 3 cards in hand, but I imagine they will have the counter to get out of that. They do. They have to give me the 2k. We're both pretty low on hand size here, but I do feel like they're in a little bit of a better position. They're going to be able to apply some good pressure on me this turn, and I'm not trying to counter with any of the cards in my hand. So I have to hope that maybe I get lucky and get some 2Ks off of life. They're going to drop down the 6 cost Boa, which is a spicy tech in this deck. You don't see that often in a lot of Dofi decks, I feel. That's going to be really good because now my Linlin can't swing into their board. Then they're going to swing with Law, Leader, Jinbei. All these hits are coming at me. I just have to take them. We do trigger the Miss All Sunday, which is absolutely splendid. I love Miss All Sunday, helping us ramp a Don and draw a card. Now our hand size is much better, and I feel much more comfortable. We're going to start with 5,000 into the Jinbei, which they let go, which is surprising. I wonder if they have no counter in hand or if they're just saving it. Now we're going to do 6,000 with my Leader into their rested Law. I'm thinking that we do another Linlin play. We'll probably trash the Trafalgar Law or maybe the 9-drop Kaido. I guess we go Law just because the 9-drop Kaido will be so helpful to clear their board if they're able to go wide again. But overall, I think that was a crazy sequence of events for us. That Miss All Sunday trigger really did wonders for us. They're going to Red Rock one of our Linlins. That's not the biggest deal. And then go 8,000 into Miss All Sunday. Hypothetically, I could save this, but I don't think it's worth it. I'd have to get rid of 3 cards out of hand, and that sounds kind of crazy to me. So we'll let it go. RIP Miss All Sunday. You served your country well. they're going to pass it back to us, and we're going to top deck a Rush King, which is a very nice find. That'll be great to apply some pressure. We swing 5 into the Law, which they give us. That's amazing. Now 9 into their life, which they give us as well. And we're just going to block her up with Queen here. With Queen's ability, we draw the Miss All Sunday and the 1-cost Searcher event. I decided to trash the Miss All Sunday. That makes the most sense to me. Then we're going to play out another Queen and draw 2 more cards, trashing the extra stage we had in our hand. The Ragnarok is a decent 5-cost event for us to pop one of their characters, but I think a Hakai Ocean Sovereignty would have been even better in this situation. They're going to Red Rock my Linlin. That feels bad, but at least they can only establish a Gecko Moria 4-drop here. They're going to swing 5 into life, and I can just free block with my Queen. We're going to want to get rid of this Gecko Moria this turn, just because we know how quickly they can apply pressure. I think maybe it's time to play the 9-cost Kaido. We'll start with a search with the 1-cost event, and the only thing we can actually take out of it is the 9-cost Kaido. We could take another stage, but there's absolutely no point in doing that. Now we're just going to swing 5 into their life. We'll see if they take this or not. And they do, which is good. We're trying to kind of whittle down their life slowly. Then we don't really have a ton of options. Playing down the Ragnarok feels really bad here just to get rid of a 4-drop. We're going to play down the 9-drop Kaido and pop their Gecko and swing big into their life. That doesn't feel too bad. They might have another Red Rock, which would stink. We did have to return 6 Dawn to use Kaido's ability. Debatably worse than a Red Rock, they have another 6-cost Boa, which is going to prevent my Kaido from attacking next turn, and we won't have enough Dawn to play out another Kaido. The good news is that we do have the Ragnarok, though, and that Boa is the perfect target. Let me know what you think in the comments down below of the 6-cost Boa tech in the blue Dofi deck. It seems like an interesting idea. I've considered it, but never have actually tested it, so if you've tested it or have any thoughts about it, I would love to hear it. They've got another Jinbei and a Boa. This is the 3rd time they've done that this game, which is pretty ridiculous. They're going to go 6,000 at me, and now I have to decide if I want to give them my 2k counter, if I want to take a life. I do have 2 blockers that I could use, but I want to keep them on the board to swing into their characters as well. 8 Dawn, I'm at a little bit of an awkward number. Not being able to swing into their board really makes things uncomfortable. I think the only thing I can really do is just swing into their life with my leader and then play the 5-cost Ragnarok event to pop their 6-cost Boa. I think that might be our best option just because playing down a Rush King doesn't really feel great. It doesn't guarantee me any characters off the board, and playing against Dofi, that's my main goal, is just get characters off the board. They take that life, which is good. We're 1 step closer to lethal. And now we'll use our event to pop the Boa. If they have a Gravity Blade Raging Tiger here, that will be pretty awkward. They'll be able to bottom deck both of my blockers and then be able to put some pressure on our life. We don't have a lot of counter in hand. We have 3,000 to be exact. And yeah, we're not in an amazing position. They do have the Gum Gum Red Rock to bottom deck that Kaido. They seem to have all the tech they need right when they have it. They might even have another Jinbei Boa combo. I wouldn't be surprised. 5,000 at me. I think I should free block here. That's what I'm going to do. If they want to swing into one of my Queen blockers that's rested, that is perfectly fine with me. They might go Jinbei into leader, and then I'll free block again. Or they just decide not to do that at all. I really like this idea for them, actually. By not swinging their characters, I cannot clear them. Or at least that's what they think. I actually can drop the 10 Kaido here, and that will be pretty sick. I think dropping the 10 Kaido is the move. We're going to start swinging with our queens first, and that shows our opponent that likely a 10 drop Kaido is coming, just because you're going to want to swing with your characters first before you drop it. This is going to be the perfect way to clear their board. It will set us back a little bit when it comes to Dawn, but what it sets us back with will make up in just the fact that we'll be able to clear their board and buy us some time to get back up to 10 Dawn and drop the King Rusher or the 9 drop Kaido. In hindsight, what I'm about to do, I think, is a misplay. But in the moment, I think my logic was if I swing 5,000 into their leader, they may free block it with Boa. And if they do that, that'll mean the Boa is rested, and that then I can play the 9-drop Kaido, pop maybe their Weevil, and swing into their Boa, KOing their Boa. And I think there's merit to that play, just because I would be able to keep the queens on the board then. But they don't fall for it. They counter with Pudding, which is probably actually worse for them because they just got rid of a counter and they could have free blocked. And I dropped the 10 cost Kaido instead, clearing their board. They do have the 4-drop Gecko Moria right on schedule. They're going to be able to play that to bring back a Jinbei and then go Jinbei Boa. How many times are they going to do this, ladies and gentlemen? I think that is number 4. They're going to be able to use leader ability and swing big into me. This is where things are a little bit uncomfortable, just because I'm going to need to go for lethal this turn, I think, because I am running out of resources a little bit, and I don't think I'll be able to survive their swings on the next turn. There is finally the Black Maria. We couldn't really use our leader ability much this game, just because we had so much to deal with on the board. If we were at 9 Don, I think dropping the 9 Kaido would have done the trick and won us the game. But since we're not, we're going to have to make a little bit of a less ideal play. We're going to play the 7-drop Rush King, use our leader ability to -7 Don and trash their life, and then we're going to have 3 swings at them. We're going to have a 5,000 swing, we're going to have a 8,000 swing with King, and then we're going to have a 12,000 swing with Kaido. Now, hypothetically, they could still win this. They're going to counter out of this swing, and now I have to go 8,000 at them with King. If they have 2 2Ks, I'd lose this game, which is crazy. They don't, and so they concede. They would have had to block with Boa there, and then the 12,000 swing with Kaido would have went through. We got the W, but the pressure they had that entire game was crazy. 4 Jinbeis into Boa. Can you believe it? Our next match is going to be another leader that got a boost with the new starter decks. Monkey D. Luffy from OP05. This leader is a classic. Very good. It gets even better in OP09 with some additional support. We are going to be on the even curve this time, which is fine with us. We have a Black Maria, we have a stage, we have a 6-cost King. I like where our hand is at right now. They're going to start with a 9,000 swing. Of course, we're just going to take that. And now we get to do an Onigashima Island and then a 1-cost Event Searcher. That's a very nice play for 4 Don. We're going to start with the 5,000 swing with leader. They will probably counter out of this, and they do with a Onami blocker. Now it's time for the stage. Be sure to use that. Don't want to forget. And now we'll use the 1-cost Searcher. And the choice is really between Hakai Ocean Sovereignty and Ragnarok. We do have the X-Drake we could take too, but I think the Hakai Ocean Sovereignty will be better. We could be in a position where they have multiple characters for us to pop with it, like Sangoro, Zorojoro, Queen, Kid. They're going to drop the Magellan, which is an interesting choice against a purple deck that ramps. I don't think it's a bad choice because I'll have to wait late game to get rid of it. We're going to start with a 6,000 swing from leader, and then with 5 Don left open, I think Miss Sunday will probably be the play. They give me the 2K counter to get out of that swing. We are in 4-cost Law range, which I am very nervous about. Haven't really gotten rid of any cards from hand, and now I'm going to take that hit, but I'm really in danger of getting hit with a 4-cost Law. Now I'm in a little bit of an awkward spot where I want to counter out of this one and don't know which card to trash. I over counter with the 0-cost event just because I don't want to get rid of my Black Maria. Black Maria is perfect to use with your leader ability, and that's what I'm saving it for. They're going to counter out of my Miss All Sunday swing. They are really protecting their life here. They're going to let the 5,000 leader swing go through. And now I'm going to play my Charlotte Linlin, which I'm imagining they're going to have a hard time dealing with. We're going to put one of their Magellans at the bottom of their life, which is a good way to temporarily deal with a Magellan. They're at 8 Don. They're going to be able to drop the Luffy Taro into Sangoro That's a very nice play for them. They're going to go 6,000 into Miss All Sunday, and we're going to let it go. We do not have a lot of counter in hand, and that is probably this deck list's biggest weakness, is that we just don't have enough 2K counters. That will have to be something I look into when I make revisions. I'm not exactly sure what I want to do on this turn yet. I'm going to start with the 5,000 swing from leader into their life, see what they do, if they take this or not. I think maybe dropping 2 Eustace Kids and then swinging to their Magellan might not be a bad idea. In hindsight, I think I like that. We're going to drop 1 at least, and then a queen might not be a bad option either, just so we can get some card advantage and look for more counter. Unfortunately, that seems like it might be a big issue for us in this game, is that we're getting to the late game and have barely any counter. 9,000 into the Magellan. I would have expected them to give us it, but they do not. That is unfortunate. I really would have loved to have gotten that Magellan off the board. Now we are going to go queen, -1 Don, draw 2 cards with no counter. That is really bad for us. We've got a decent board, and we've got more cards in hand than our opponent, but I wouldn't say that we're in an amazing position right now. They're going to be able to swing 3 decent-sized bodies. The Sangoro gets them a card draw, and then they've got a ton of Don to work with. 6,000 at us. Maybe I should have 2K'd out of that or taken that. I think countering out or blocking out with queen was maybe not the best look. It just kind of shows that I don't have much counter in hand. Now I'll probably have to counter out of one of their big swings if they swing big with leader too. They're going to swing into Charlotte Linlin with Luffy Taro, and I should just give them the 1K Eustace Captain Kid here. The 2K Black Maria wouldn't be terrible either, but we do want to use our counter carefully, and so that's why we go with the 1K Kid, even though that would have had use as a blocker. They're going to go Luffy Taro into Zoro Joro, and this seems like the perfect time for them to get hit with a 10-drop Kaido. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go into life a little bit, swing 6,000 with Kid, 9,000 with Linlin. Maybe I should have worked their board and played 9-drop Kaido instead. I don't think that's a crazy idea either. It feels like we're in a much better position now. We do have to go down a ton of Don, and we have to go down 2 more Don because of that Magellan, which doesn't seem good, which feels terrible actually. But we got the 10-drop Kaido on the field, and I don't think they're going to have an answer to that. For 4 Don, they'll play Onami, draw 2 cards. They had a trash 1, and now they've got the queen. Now this is where things get really awkward. Those were probably 2 of the best cards for them to see right now. 2 blockers. I don't have enough Don to hit them with the Hakai Ocean Sovereignty. It's crazy how low in Don I am right now. I just can't really do much. We're going to give them the 2K counter to get out of that leader swing, and now we don't really have a good option. We can play Black Maria. That's our only 2K counter from hand, but it would let us use our leader ability. If we do that, then we are still going to be low on Don, so I think using leader ability is not the move this turn. If they were bricked up in hand, pause. If they had no counter cards in hand, my plan would have worked a lot better. But as we see, they've got 5 cards in hand. 5 cards, there's no way this 7,000 attack is not going to get through. My hope was that they'd block this attack, and then I'd swing with my 10-drop Kaido, which they'd block as well. And then I would have free access to their life next turn. They block and counter with the queen, which keeping that queen on the board is huge for them. And unfortunately for me, they have another blocker where they're able to trash 1 card and draw 2 cards. We're not in a good spot, ladies and gentlemen. They drop a queen. This is basically just adding insult to injury. I do not have any counter in my hand, so I cannot get out of this 6,000 swing. If I could get out of it, things might be a little different. We're going to get the 1-cost Searcher event trigger, which is great, but the only thing I can really take is the king, and what do you know, it does not have any counter. I am about as bricked up as they come. Pause. Don't tell my girlfriend I just said that. Don't tell my wife I just said that either. Don't tell any of them. We've got 5 Don to work with, and we've really got no win condition here. Our only possible way for us to win is to swing 5,000 with Black Maria, have them not have any cards in hand. We're going to go 6,000 actually. We would need them to have to block this, block our leader swing for 6,000, and then that's when we use 10 drop Kaido to swing in. But they have the 2K Usohachi. There was nothing I could do. Man, it feels bad. Look, I've got 7 cards in hand and not a single counter. Maybe this deck list needs some more work. GG's though, well played. Ladies and gentlemen, what did you think of those games? I definitely think I could have won that purple Luffy matchup if I just had a little bit more counter. The fact that they had that many blockers at the end is pretty crazy to me. But GG's, like, some really fun games today. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Let me know in the comments down below if you even remember my first video. If you've been there since day one, that would be really crazy. If you want to win the custom Kaido leader, all you have to do is 1, leave a like, 2, leave a comment, and that's it. If we get to 15 likes in the first 24 hours, I'll send it to 1 US-based commenter completely free. You're tired of me yapping. Thank you for watching, everyone. This has been a Johnny TCG production. Peace.